birthday earlier this week as well. One of my fraternity brothers and my sons actually. And I talked about Andre in an earlier show. It might have been way back on the stepping stone when I talked about Andre Collins. And he's a CPA. I call him the CPA extraordinaire. And I said when I started the show, I was on a mission. I was on a mission to help so many people to increase their credit scores, which of course lowers their interest rates, and then they save their money. And I said I was on that mission to do so, so much so that a CPA as good as Andre Collins couldn't even calculate how much money people were saved. So that's what I said before, and that's what I said about Andre Collins. I'm also going to be changing that mission into a movement, and I need your help with that movement. The month of May is the 1 year anniversary of this show, the 800 Credit Score Man Show. It's the 1 year anniversary, and I'm gonna be doing something special toward the end of May regarding the anniversary of the 800 Credit Score Man Show. And we're changing that mission into an actual movement, and I'm gonna need your help for that. So stay tuned to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. Happy birthday, Andre! While I'm sticking with Noops, one of my fraternity brothers, right? So, Rian Norman, happy birthday to you. And then I also got to shout out another noob, Sean Dyes. He celebrated a birthday this week as well. If you are in the Chicagoland area, you have got to get by one of his places. You can go by Tantrum. It's around 1100 South State Street. Go by Tantrum. Nice little place. And then there's also his newest place, which is Renaissance, which is around 4700 block of South Martin Luther King Drive as well. So happy birthday to you, Sean. Happy birthday, Ren, and happy birthday, Andre Collins as well. All right, so let's get to this question of the day. So the question of the day comes from Ashley. Ashley is out of Minnesota, and let me give you a little background. I'm pretty sure that Ashley and I talked via inbox, so you can always inbox me as well at 800 Credit Score Man on Facebook. I'm also at 800 Credit Score Man on Instagram as well. You can contact me there. So let me give you a little bit of background. So Ashley says to me that she recently found the podcast. Again, thank you, Ashley, so very much. I appreciate it. And that she recently started taking her credit seriously about a year or so ago. That's what she did. Also, before I get to that, don't let me forget, you guys. Don't let me forget the sponsor for the question of the day, and that is none other than Cute as a Cupcake, the cupcakery and bake shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute; they're delicious. Located in Maryville, Indiana, 2008 West 81st. That's 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by Cute as a Cupcake. All right, so back to Ashley. So Ashley says she's started taking her credit seriously about a year or so ago, and her credit score has increased 175 points in that year's time. So first off, congratulations. That's a long way to come. Congratulations to you, Ashley, for gaining 175 points on your credit score. Now, she says that how did she do it? So she gave me a little background, and she said that she became an authorized user. If you listen to this show, I told you guys, look at becoming an authorized user on someone's credit card with a long length of history. And so she became an authorized user on somebody's card. Now, I've been telling you guys to do that as well when it comes to trying to increase your credit score. So what happens with an authorized user is this. If you become a signer on a particular credit card, then you get the full benefit of however long they've had that card. So if they've had that card for 18, 20 years, then you get the full benefit of all that good pay history for 18, 20 years, first day that it hits your credit report. The very first day. You don't have to, there's no waiting period or anything of that nature. So you get that. So authorized user is a great thing to use. Now, if you're the person that's allowing somebody to become an authorized user, you don't have to actually give them the credit card. You can allow them to be an authorized user. And if you're concerned at all that they may mess up your credit or go charge something that you didn't authorize, you don't have to actually give them the credit card. And I would suggest that you not give them the credit card in their hand. There's no need for that. If the whole point and purpose is to help them with their credit score, that's what you do. All right, so authorized user worked for her. And then she also went ahead and paid off a couple collections. Now, we haven't even got to the question yet, but her question was, when she went to pay off her collections, She didn't talk to them about actually deleting them off of their credit report. Now, what I've told you guys in the past was that you can pay your collections all day. It doesn't do your credit score any good to pay that collection and get it to zero if it still sits on your credit report. It just doesn't help you at all. And now it's going to sit on your credit report for 7 years from the date that you paid. So if you went and paid a collection that was 5.5 years old and you only had a year and a half left for it to be on your credit report, now it's going to be on there an additional 7 years. So when you make those collections, you've got to ask them to delete it from your credit report as well. So she didn't do that. She didn't do that this particular time, and she wants to know what are her chances. What are her chances of them actually taking it off her credit report for her if she contacts them now? So here's what I told Ashley. Ashley, I said that there's about a 50-50 chance that they will go ahead and remove that from your credit report. Now, actually, on second thought, I don't think that the rates or the percentage are even that high. It's probably more likely that they won't, because now they have their money in hand. So they already got their money in hand, so they may be a little more difficult. But if you found that the person that you talked to on the phone was relatively kind, you still have their number, their extension, then that's the person I would call and talk to them. I wouldn't talk to some random person that answered the phone. Now, if you didn't think that person was very helpful or kind to you, then go ahead and feel free to talk to any random person that happens to answer the phone and see if they'll remove that from your credit report. Oftentimes, they will not go back and do that, even if they say they will. They oftentimes will not go back and do it, and here's why. It costs them money to make transactions with the credit bureaus. And so it doesn't only cost them one time, it costs them 3 times because you have 3 credit bureaus. So they got to contact TransUnion, they got to contact Equifax, they have to contact Experian, and so then it's going to cost them money. They already got all the money that they're going to get out of you, and so basically they're losing money by basically helping you out in this particular form of fashion. So oftentimes they say, no, they won't do it, or they say they will do it, and they never actually do it. So if that happens, then what do? Now, I usually hesitate to give this particular piece of advice out, but I'm going to give this advice out. So if you find yourself in this situation, if you're in this situation and they promised that they would take it off your credit report, or even if you didn't get to that, or you think you did and it's still on your credit report, here's what you do. You go ahead and you dispute that particular collection after it's shown, paid in zero on your credit report. You go ahead and you dispute that collection with the credit bureau, directly to the credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. You go directly to TransUnion.com, Experian.com. You go directly to them and you dispute that particular collection. When you do that, the collection agency, of course, has 30 days. They have 30 days to go ahead and respond back to the credit bureaus. What often happens is they don't bother to respond. Why don't they bother to respond? The same reason before. They already have their money in hand, and it only costs them more money to collect or to go ahead and have a transaction and actually talk to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. It costs them money times 3. So oftentimes they do not bother to respond at all, or they respond late. So you're not a high priority at this particular point because they've already got their money, and oftentimes they will respond late past your 30-day window, and then the credit bureau is obligated to take it off of your credit report if they don't respond, or if they respond late, they're obligated to take it off your credit report, and then it's going to be gone and your credit score is going to go up. So that's what happens, and that's the advice that I have for Ashley and anyone else that finds their self in that particular situation. Thank you very much, Ashley. I really appreciate the conversation with you. And what I didn't mention, and what she did mention in her inbox, was that she does not have a credit card herself. I didn't mention this to her, but I'm going to mention it now. You should get a credit card. 30% of your credit score is off of your debt utilization, which only deals with your credit cards. So if you do not have a credit card, basically, you don't have a credit card of your own because now you're authorized user. Basically, you are missing out on 30% of your potential credit score. So just imagine that 175 points that you got the increase in it could be even larger. All right. So thank you very much, Ashley. You are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. And if you have questions, contact me. Send them to me, 800 creditscoreman at gmail.com. Again, the question of the day is brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, the Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. All right, so let's get back. Well, let me do another shout out before we get out of here because we got only like 5 minutes left. All right, I got to shout out Sharon Haney. Happy birthday to Sharon Haney. She celebrated her birthday earlier this week. One of the sweetest ladies I've ever met in my life, with a beautiful, beautiful family as well. So happy birthday to you, Sharon Haney. And I want to shout out Lisa Johnson McFarland. Lisa Johnson McFarland, if you don't know her, maybe you know her face or you've heard her voice, but this is a songbird. She's a huge, huge Cubs fan, and the Go Cubs Go song, she has her own rendition of that. And if you've never heard Lisa Johnson McFarland sing that song, and you're a Cubs fan or a baseball fan, or you watched one piece of the World Series last year, I'm going to suggest that you look her up. You can probably find her on YouTube somewhere. She celebrated her birthday this week as well. So happy birthday to you, Lisa Johnson McFarland. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me get the rest of this out of the way, you guys, so I can let you go and you can come back next week and you can share and talk about this all week with your friends and family. All right, so we already talked about that, don't close your credit cards. All right, we talked about that part. We talked about the fact that, people with lower scores actually might benefit from this removal of the civil judgments and the tax liens, negatively affecting you as well if you have a high credit limit. If you got high credit limits, then it may negatively affect you with this new VantageScore model. If you got high, because they're trying to predict the risk factor in the particular model that you may eventually have an issue, and you might go ahead and charge things up. Here's the last thing I want to tell you guys about in regards to this, that the debt on a monthly basis is going to be negative for you. So if you have debt on a monthly basis in regards to your credit cards, and you're paying your minimum monthly balance, and it's not looking like you're paying any more and your debt's not going anywhere, then that's going to negatively affect you as far as they're concerned. If you can only pay the minimums on your credit cards, then they're using that as a negative risk factor for you. So if you've got credit cards and your monthly payment is $20 and you always pay $20, you never pay 21, you never pay 25, and it doesn't look like your balances are going down at all, they're considering that a risk factor for you. So you fall into that particular category where you've got this debt on your credit cards and you just pay the minimum monthly balances and they don't seem to go anywhere, and they're not going anywhere because you're looking at how much interest you're being charged, then that's a negative risk factor in this particular scoring model as well. So, okay, I think we've pretty much covered all of the things that they have talked about in that. And I don't know if I mentioned this as well. If you are one of the people that play the rewards cards game, so, you try to get your points and, you use this card at this particular place because they give you 5% back on gas in this one grocery store, or you use one because they're giving you 1.5% back in cash every month. You use that one. They will consider that a particular risk as well, because you're using a particular card. So you got a $5,000 balance, and every month you charge $3,500. Even if you pay it off at the end of every month, they're going to be looking at that as a particular risk factor as well. So I can't tell you exactly why they pointed out these particular items that might be a risk factor for someone having a negative effect on their credit in the future, but these are the things that they're looking at. So instead of like FICO looking at your past history and trying to judge your credit worthiness there, what VantageScore is looking at is what's going to happen in the future. This person continues upon this particular trend, it's likely that they may default on a particular debt, or it's likely that they may do well in a particular situation as well. So that's what they're looking at in this. So I'm going to post the article that I read. I might post a couple of articles because there are a couple of different people wrote about them. They're basically the same. A couple of ands here and there that are a little different. But I'm gonna post both of them. You can catch it on